Hello everyone. Not streaming. Um, but I do wanna come out and say that there has been a fairly shocking briefing paper from the Supreme Court in the United States, which basically makes uh, uh, abortion illegal again. It has been protected by the Supreme Court, a ruling Roe V Wade, as many of you may probably know. Unfortunately, there are plans with a Republican Supreme Court justice, appointed by Donald Trump, and of course the other Republicans in the Supreme Court. They are now trying to remove the right to an abortion. They want to overturn the ruling. This has been a topic ever since it got ruled that abortion should be legal, but it has never been codified in law. So no president has ever or the Senate or the House have made a bill to legalize abortion that way. So it has been hanging on like a ledge for a long while, and the ledge has been pretty put there. It has been pretty stable for the last 50 years. Unfortunately, now that they're trying to overturn it, it will just be illegal to have an abortion. It will not be protected. So if you go to an abortion clinic, states are allowed to block that. Like, there has been a bill in Texas or Florida, I don't quite remember which one, which basically made it illegal to have an abortion, or even to go have an abortion in another state where it is legal. Basically, people could be prosecuted for having an abortion. This is terrible news. Alright? Everybody who agrees that abortion, for example, is like a part of bodily autonomy, that people should have a right to an abortion, her body, her choice. I think that this will put back those regulations back. Alright, this will ensure that women, probably in red states and blue states some as well, that they will have to get an abortion. Now, personally, I think this is awful. This will have bad outcomes. If you are poor, if you are unable to take care of a child, even if you got raped, or any circumstance which that could alleviate you or ensure that the child will not go to a bad place, that's to me a valid reason to have an abortion. And currently, the people who have to make those decisions, it will become a lot harder to do to make that decision, because there will not be places left to get an abortion. Now, this is harmful for everyone, for the mother, for the parents, for the children themselves. Even if people are as desperate to get an abortion anyways, even be illegal, there wouldn't be like a doctor's office, because if a doctor would do it, it would be illegal. So people often refer to like medieval ways of, or like simple ways to get rid of it anyway, right? So coat hanger, or like hurting yourself enough so that the child won't survive. There are a lot of fucked up options people can take, right? And I would rather have it that they can do it in a clinic where it's safe. Yeah, that's the big thing, the safety, right? It's the same with like doing drugs. So if you have, for example, if you are a fan of heroin, or getting an injection illegally, you don't know where the fuck that has been. But if you go to a hospital, you'll know that meals will be clean. And even though it may be drugs that they are getting you, it will reduce the harm that you get from dirty needles, right? It will reduce the harm of the product that has been in there. It could be contaminated with something. You don't know where it comes from. But if the government does it, then it's regulated, then there's a certain standard that needs to be adhered to. The same with abortion. If there is not like medical procedure or medical standing to have an abortion, to get an abortion, people will go to different routes to get it anyway. So this is going to have bad outcomes if you want to have an abortion. Now, if you don't want to have an abortion, this probably won't affect you as much. Still though, uh, if you are in favor of abortion, you should be able to fight. You should now come out and fight to make sure that this will not get through to the Supreme Court. All right. It is important for people to have an abortion. For example, black people are disproportionately affected by this. They have more abortions because since they are poor, since they are most often in pretty bad communities, there is a higher chance that you will have to go to these desperate measures of sustaining yourself or the child's life. You know, a child is a lot to take care of, especially if you're just like a single mom or something. You know, there are a lot of reasons that having an abortion, in my opinion, could be justified, but to outright ban it all will lead to worse outcomes, and these outcomes will only worsen over time, right? It'll be a fucking disaster. Now, I do have to say my take on abortion may be a little bit controversial. I personally think that there is that abortion could be at a certain point could be considered killing a life. I know that that's not what most people believe. Most people either believe that it's a life from the moment of inception, or people believe that it's a life when it's outside of the womb. I think they're all subjective standards, and they well. But my standard is more about recognizability. You know, if you can recognize that it's a human, if you can identify, okay, this seems like a human to me, then I think that should count as a life, because it would be more like a gradual process instead of either it's inside the womb or outside the womb or at the point of reception. No, inception. You know, when the sperm meets the egg, that kind of stuff. I personally do think though that not having abortion at all does have bad outcomes, and I think people who are against abortion should have the same view as well. You know, you have to recognize that there are some evils, in my opinion, that there are some evils that we should do. You know, I think, for example, killing chickens is bad, but just stopping all farming of chickens, you know, that would be an immense problem. I think there needs to be more of like a gradient process to get abortion illegalized. And even if you are like anti-abortion, even if you really think that it's murder, you really have to consider what the outcomes would be for a lot of people who are poor, who have been raped. Like, what would be the outcome of it? Because as it currently stands, there are, I think, a lot of abortions done in the US with the help of Planned Parenthood. But this will all be incredibly difficult to do if Roe v Wade gets overturned. Now, what I hope will happen is there will either be such a moral outrage that the Supreme Court will not, will uphold Roe v Wade, or I hope that maybe we can get some actual gratification of this law. You know, that there will actually be a law saying yes, abortion is legal. Yes, we have abortion clinics. Yes, this is how it's going to happen. You know, I do not want to see this right of women and men go away. Right? No good will come from this. Now, it has been an issue that the Supreme Court currently is stacked 5 Republicans, 4 Democrats. And this will make it more difficult to have all the justices agree that Roe v. Wade should stand up. right, should stay. But again, maybe, I don't know if they need a majority or if they need like 60 people in the House or in the Senate to get actually a bill done that would legalize abortion, right? That would actually protect abortion rights of women. And maybe for next year, maybe Biden himself can do something. He has executive orders. I don't know how far his power reaches in that regard, but I hope something gets done about it to prevent disasters for several decades to come. Because it's a long-term issue, right? It's not just people now won't be able to have an abortion. No, it will be people have to take 20, 25 years of a child. People have uh, um, all these costs that they have to put into the time they need to spend, which in a lot of cases people aren't able to take care of themselves in the first place. And I don't mean this condescending. I mean this in a sense that there are a lot of issues in the economy in America. Now, I hope everybody in the US who is trying to get an abortion can get there in time and get the help they need. Um, this if I don't want to sound like a doomsday cultist, but I think Americans need to prepare for the worst in this scenario. You need to get there are, for example, a lot of medical treatments that can prevent you from having children. For example, for guys it can be a vasectomy, but for girls it can also be getting like a spiral in a vagina. A spiral which basically gives you hormones, I think, and will ensure that you won't be able to have a child. It's a safe procedure. Uh, get a doctor. Uh, I don't know what the best option for you might be, but always ask a doctor and get the things you need. Ensure that you will not have to be one of the victims if this gets through. All right. Now, with regards to the political and the regards to the political advice that hopefully Democrats will stand up and defend the right to have an abortion. Make it as loud as possible that this is a horrendous thing to do. It is horrendous to repeal Roe v Wade. Second, get prepared. Prepare yourself. Move to another state if necessary. Get it in another state if necessary. Ensure that you won't have to uh, um, suffer under this new thing. Which means preventing it. Wearing condoms, taking the pill, that sort of stuff. What else? I think this is all the advice or opinions I can give about it. I'm sorry for not streaming this. I'm currently working on a big busy schedule. Um, this is, and I will not lie, this is one of the things that will still be left from the Trump era, right? He has done a lot of bad shit, but this remains these remains of his presidency will really affect women, men, children for a long, long time to come. If it does not get back from Roe v Wade again, maybe there will be another Supreme Court case. It can be ruled in favor of abortion, but maybe with better grounding. I don't know. Let's hope for the best and fight for it as well. Like, make this knowledgeable everywhere you go. All right, especially if you're in the U.S. Um, that's basically all for me. Stay safe out there. I hope you'll do well.